He carries it to the rest of the room. And just the energy, having him back out there today on the field. We still heard him while he was gone, but just hearing him in the huddle, hearing him on the sideline, he has good energy to himself, and everybody can feel it.
Brandon, NFC Pro Bowl wide receivers, all good, but there was some thought you could have been among them. Was that disappointing to not be recognized? And just that.
Yeah, it was. It was tough at first, but we'll see. Probably pretty much every one of those guys at one point they had to come through San Francisco, so it's all good. We'll see.
Getting more accolades, though. Like, I think you were on the PFF top wide receivers and a couple other awards. Does that kind of ease the pain a little bit?
I mean, I know what I did this season. Everybody, we all play this game we want something to show for. We want to get some accolades, get something to show for the work that we put in. But at the end of the day, I looked at this season, even though it's nowhere close to being done, the regular season, and what I went out to do. I would say I got to do that, so it's all good, yeah.
Did you set statistical goals, and did you reach them?
I did set them. I didn't reach them. I mean, I didn't. It's just like every single week it changes. Like our goals change every single week as the year goes on. That stuff changes. The goals change. Personally, for myself, we're talking about personal goals. So yes and no.
Yeah. You had 2 touchdowns in that opener in Pittsburgh, and Brock obviously was the one that threw them to you. What kind of connection did you have with Brock all season long? And did it raise your eyebrows at all just how he was able to come back from the elbow surgery?
Yeah, Brock too. He had a great regular season. He did a great job. But even just like out there today, we're still trying to continue to build on that connection as it gets tighter and tighter each game that we play from here on out. So we're just continuing to build off that. But I definitely think that we were able to do some special things and still continue to look forward towards more special things.
What's it like going into the playoffs with him this year, knowing that he's already playoff tested?
We're just looking to get better. Obviously, we've done some things. He's got to play in playoff games, but we weren't able to capitalize on all our goals in playoffs. So that's just the mindset as we get a little chance this week. Just getting our minds and bodies to match up so that when we go out there next week and practicing in the game, we're able to put our best foot forward.
What's the hardest part about not losing the chemistry? You know, you didn't play last week. You guys aren't playing this week. It'll be 3 weeks between meaningful games in terms of your chemistry, your connection, the timing. What's the hardest part about staying sharp for you guys?
Like I said, just mind and body, just trying to stay in it. But 3 weeks, I'm not sure about 3 weeks. I know we played with them in Washington. We didn't play with them last week. 2 practices and in the game. But we just went out there today and had practice. And it was a pretty good practice for the offense. So,
Brandon, a lot of receivers don't like to run in the middle of the field. You seem to thrive in the middle of the field. Is there a route that you prefer or you would consider your favorite route?
Anytime you get to go across the middle, you get chances for big explosive plays. And in the way that Brock is able to see it and throw it on time and with pace, it just makes for a good offense. So really anywhere on the field, I'm trying to catch the football. But I think through the middle of the field, we've definitely got some work in through there.
How did today's practice compare to a regular Thursday practice for you guys?
Same practice, just a little bit, altered a little bit. It's obviously still a bye week. We still want to get guys back, get everybody where they need to be. But pretty similar to a Thursday practice.
Intensity, I mean, was that, could you tell that was important to Kyle that you guys, practice at the same pace that you usually do?
Yeah, that's kind of been the message. We're just trying to follow his lead, and I'm sure they'll have us ready to go.
You said obviously it's not over, but where do you feel like you've grown the most, whether it's a player or as a person this season?
I think just through the years, you get tested with certain different things, whether that's at home, here, on the football field, in the building, wherever it may be. I think just getting used to things happening and being able to kind of continue to move forward and just maneuver through different situations.
Have the front office or anybody given you any, I guess, communication in regards to your contract, what extension you might be getting, just any assurances on how much they appreciated this season and beyond?
Yeah, my agent keep calling me, but I ain't talked to him yet.
And several times throughout the season, you talked about how the offensive left meat on the bone when you've been out there. How much closer are you guys to getting a majority of it off the bone?
Sorry, one more time.
You talked throughout the season about, you leaving plays out there, leaving meat on the bone, but how much closer are you as the season has progressed to being at your full potential?
I think that's just that's our main goal through the season is just, and as players, is taking away those plays that you're talking about and just fully maximizing every play, getting everything we can from every single play, and then as we get into the playoffs, that's more and more crucial. So we're thinking about that every time we go out onto the field, every time we're walking around, we're just thinking about maximizing and leaving nothing out there, collect everything on our way out.
Do you feel like you're reaching max potential at the right point in the season?
I think we're in a good spot. We're trying to continue to keep on getting better, but we won't know that for sure until the run comes to an end.
All right. Thanks, Brandon.
Appreciate it.
Ron, you'll be next.
What are you guys doing here? It's a bye week. Yeah, what are you guys going to talk about? Well, so you've seen me and I can leave now?
What was practice like today, intensity-wise, and do you sort of remember what, the 2019 bye-week practice was like? And
Yes, I do. Just because we've talked about it like 5 times. Let's see, 2019, we were coming off, we had a must-win game in Seattle. And so we got that win. Everybody played, high intensity, everyone was dialed in. So the following week was more like jog-through stuff. Today was definitely a full-speed day. Guys flying around, guys competing. Offense definitely competed better today than the defense. Yeah, suck it, Fred. Besides that, no, it's great. Like, you just want to, I know Kyle said something like just continue to sharpen the sword. Like, I don't know, you just want to try to, take every advantage when you're on a football field, to get a little bit better, to refine your skills a little bit, to focus on one thing. Your first step, your release, your get off, your focus on ADO if you're a D lineman, your pack pedal, like just something like you just don't want to like lose a step anywhere. And so it was a good day today, and looking forward to tomorrow.
You've experienced postseason heartbreak here, but did the way?
Ooh,
I'm sorry.
that's fine.
Very dramatic.
That was dramatic.
With the way you guys lost last season, know, some circumstances that were out of your control. Did that provide any sort of different, like, off-season feeling, off-season motivation or juice, or is it all the same? You lose and you know, deep in the playoffs, and it just sucks.
That's a good question. I would say, like, it didn't really add more motivation for me. I'm pretty motivated to win because it's really fun, and losing is not fun. And it's not like I felt like our team was playing at such a high level last year. 12 straight, going to the playoffs, lose your quarterback, lose your second quarterback, bring your other quarterback back in. Like, there's not much more we could have done differently as a team once that injury occurred. So it's like, we were playing at a super high level. We were playing well. That happens. We lose. So it's not like, hey, we have to go train harder. We need to do this better. It's just like, hey, we just need to get better, continue to keep on the streak that we're going on, continue to play at a high level. We've got the players for it. We've got the scheme for it. We've got the confidence. Hey, let's just stay healthy, and just go play football, which is kind of what we've done this year. And so I wouldn't say it was like a different mindset like that. It was more of a, hey, like, we keep getting really, really close and it's not happening. I'm not sure if like there's something I'm going to change in the offseason. Just how healthy can I be and how good can I get at football? And then I think the rest will take care of itself.
George, I know you guys have.
Holy
only-
cow.
I know. It always
Bright
shocks
lights. I
people
can't
when
see you
come
guys
here.
up there.
We're here. Wondering, how different it is going into the postseason this year, knowing that Brock has playoff experience under his belt, that he's playoff tested. Is there something different to that?
Yes and no. I mean, I think anytime you can have playoff experience, it's definitely helpful. I remember like Joe Staley, Richard Sherman told me, the first time I had my experience in 2019 was, like you're playing football, but like the intensity is different. Like the vibe is different. The energy is different. There's not really a lot of playful communication. Sometimes you're chirping with guys, throughout a game. It's a lot more intensity. There's a lot more anger. There's a lot more, do or die on every single play. Like, you can look at a scouting report, you can look at a team like, hey, well, sometimes this guy doesn't really try on the backside. Like, this defensive end only rushes on third down, and if he's front side, like, he might try backside. He takes a lot of plays off. Not very many people do that in the playoffs. Everyone looks like Max Crosby when you get to the playoffs. There's 100% effort on every single play. We know which is what expected, but not everybody does it. So it is like you're still playing football, and like, I don't need you to go like do crazy things and try to make something up on a football field. Like, just continue to play at your level, but just keep in mind that it's going to be incredibly, incredibly intense, and a lot is going to be asked of you. But yeah, sorry, with Purdy, there's a little just rolling right now. With Purdy, I just expect him to be the same person, incredibly consistent, dialed in. He looked great today, made a lot of great throws, scored a lot of touchdowns. So like, I'm never really worried about Purdy. Even he threw multiple interceptions a game. Not really worried. He's going to bounce back, and he's going to play at a super high level like he always does.
With Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick leaving their teams after long.
Yeah, crazy.
Did you have any interaction with those guys personally, either before games or off season? And then, do you do that with coaches in general ever?
Occasionally, like I like to communicate with coaches. It's easier now at this point in my career because most head coaches know who I am. Like, my first couple years, I don't know if they really know who I was at all. But no, I've never had an experience with Bill Belichick, which is unfortunate. So, maybe I'll invite him to Tight End U. He'll coach because he can actually coach now if he's not with another team. That'd be actually a great idea, Cam. It's awesome. Never had an experience with Nick Saban, but I've had experience. Yeah, I've talked to Pete a couple times. Everyone that I've known, like, I trained with a couple of their tight ends in the off season. Yeah, I mean, they're all incredibly high on Pete and his culture that they build, the positivity that they build up there. Seems like a great place. I'd rather be here, but seems like a great place for the people that are there.
Kyle's been, I think he's the fourth longest tenured coach.
I saw that. 7 years? That's crazy. Like, 7 years is the fourth most tenured coach now?
How helpful is that, just that continuity for establishing a franchise?
I mean, it's huge. Well, I've been very lucky. My college coach is going into year like 24. So I had that stability when I was in college, and I get it here in the first year of Kyle's, and just kind of been a part of the foundation, see how it's grown. And just when you have that stability, and like, you just each year gets a little bit more, I don't want to say comfortable, just like gets easier to be a part of the offense, gets easier to be a part of the system. Like, you just get used to the ebb and flow of things, and it allows you to kind of like, what your routine is going into, whether it's OTAs, going into the off season, going into training camp. Like, how to get your body, the time that you need to spend Monday, Tuesday on your off days. You know how to spend the time, and so that's been incredibly helpful for me. And And then like we know what Kyle's expectations are. So as captains, as leaders of the team, like we all come together and we try to reinforce the things that Kyle is talking to the team. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that.
Bill Walsh used to say that coaches would coach like 10 years in one spot, and for him, he thought that was the max. You should move aside because the message has been out. Everybody knows what it is. It's a little tired. You've grown up with Kyle. I'm curious, how different is Kyle now, 7 years in, than when you started?
There's a lot of similarities. There are a lot of differences. Kyle has, I think Kyle's grown just as much as I have. Just thinking back, like his team meetings, his install, his offense, like everything, like the way he's adapted to changing times on offense, the way that he's changed his meetings. Like he used to let players talk the night before games. And like the last couple of years, like I don't know, his team meetings are phenomenal. The way he describes football, the way that he teaches football to offense, defense, and special teams guys, he's been such a great teacher. I would say like that's been like one of the coolest things. I remember like just talking to Hargrave. He's like, I've never sat in a team meeting where Kyle explains the purpose of this run game, this run style versus this run style, and why we're trying to get D linemen to do certain things. He goes, no one's ever talked to me about that before. Like I've learned 20 things in that one 40-minute team meeting. So like something like that, it's really fun to be a part of something like that because I've been playing football since I was 5 years old, however, but like I've learned more in this 7 years, specifically like this last 3 or 4 years, than I probably did in my first 26.
George, this team has had a lot of opportunities to win it all, and as you age in the game, you're 30 now.
Thank you.
Do you have greater urgency, greater determination to get that ring this year because you got so close in the past and this might be your best chance at one?
I mean, I feel great. So, I'm going to play as long as I possibly can. And, no, I don't think, like, my sense of urgency has been pretty urgent since 2019. I kind of figured that out. I think it takes, like, a year or two to get to be in the NFL to realize, like, the sense of urgency that you have to have when you're on a good football team. But, yeah, I feel like I've been pretty urgent since then. My first 2 years, I was just trying to survive the NFL, and then something clicked, figured it out, started playing at a high level, and then you realize, especially like you have guys like Joe Staley, Garrett Selleck, they're like two of my best friends are on a team. I've been in the league like without them longer than I was with them. I played with them for 3 years, and I've played with them without them for 4 years. So it's just like I understand the sense of urgency, and I think it takes young guys a little bit, but majority of this team fully understands that. And I don't windows closing, all that stuff. I don't know. I'm just going to keep playing football at a high level until they tell me I can't anymore. You asked one already. Thank you. Just throw something at him.
Looking at the potential of your offense with all of your role players on it, do you feel like you are peaking at the right time?
Me or the offense? Yeah, I mean, it's coaches talk like Brian Fleury's like, you want to be playing better football in October than you were in September. You want to be better, November than October, December than November, January than December. So like, yes, I think we've continually gotten better. I think our offense has been incredibly efficient, throughout the season. Besides like maybe, 1 or 2 games we didn't play very well, but I think our offense is playing at a high level. Our best players are playing at a really high level. Ayuk's phenomenal, Brock's phenomenal. Christian McCaffrey. Like, we have great weapons. And I think everyone's playing at a really high level, and like everyone is very dialed into the sense of urgency. Like you feel that in the building. Like everyone just has this unique focus. And I don't know, one thing like I respect about our team is I look around the league and like I see other locker rooms after games and people, a lot of music, cheering and all that stuff after games, which I totally respect and I love that energy. Ours just kind of feels like, hey, we won. What's the next week? What is the next job? What is the next mission? What is the next thing that we're going to attack? And I feel like that's just a sense of urgency. Like you want to enjoy things in like that 24-hour rule, but at the same time, like our guys are flushing it, moving on. We're going to the next one. I just really respect that about this team, and I don't know if it's on purpose, but it's just kind of the energy that you feel within the locker room.
George,
The bits better be good, man.
I think you'll like it.
Okay.
When Brock the rare times he's had adversity, the Ravens most recently, I mean, when he talks to us, he's not defensive at all. He doesn't even subtly deflect, any sort of blame, and he very openly discusses his mistakes. I assume you kind of get a sense of those qualities in dealing with him. I guess, what does that say about him?
I mean, he's very mature for his age, and he's played the quarterback position. I've said about Brock 20 times, he had 48 starts in college. He's played at a high level. He's played poorly before. He's won games. He's lost games. Like, he understands what the quarterback is. Like, you're kind of the face of the franchise. You're kind of the reason that we're going to win or lose games. I think, Kyle talks about all the time is that, you do everything in the offseason. You do everything through training camp. You do practices every single week. And the only thing that people ever see is those 3.5 hours on every Sunday, and you're putting yourself out there. And you have to be okay with putting yourself out there. And sometimes you're going to prevail. Sometimes you're going to fail. And you got to be okay, like not okay with it, but you have to be willing to put yourself out there and then willing to look yourself in the mirror and face if you're doing well or not. And I think Brock just does a really good job of that. And he's, like I said, he's mature enough to handle that pressure of being the 49ers starting quarterback, breaking a record in your first career season as a starter. Like, there's a lot that people expect of Brock, but I think he just does such a good job of being himself and just being an overall good human being. And I think that's why you guys like talking to him so much. Thanks, guys. He said that was only be 5 minutes, so you lied to me, Eric. I didn't. Zach, sorry. Eric's the other guy.
Brandon and George that the offense may have won today's practice. Is that true?
Those offensive guys, boy, I'll tell you what, we won today. So let's not get that misunderstood. Defense won today. They had a good couple plays, especially, Purdy's back out there ripping it. Looks great. Exactly what you would like to see out of the offense. It was a hard-fought battle, I'd say.
You might imagine that it wouldn't be hard fought because there's nothing to prepare for this weekend.
Right.
But did you, personally make sure that there was intensity so that those guys might say something like that after a practice?
I'm always trying to stir the pot. I'm always trying to get the juices going. Before the practice starts, you start planting seeds. In each guy. Hey, Brandon, we're gonna see. George, I don't know. Brock, you've been away for a while. I don't know. It's planting seeds, man, and then that's how you create that competitive atmosphere out there. It's all fun and games.
Had some pretty notable coaches step down this weekend, and when Bill Walsh was here, he used to say, you can coach for a place for 10 years and everybody's heard everything and you should move on. You've been with Kyle for 6 years now. I'm curious, what's he done to keep things fresh? Is he much the same as the guy when you got here? Does he do things differently? How has he adjusted and adapted?
He's for sure the same guy, just better. Every year he's gotten better as a coach, just like he expects all of his players to get better. His big thing is you're either getting better or you're getting worse. And with Kyle, just being so true and authentic to himself and having had the experiences that we've had as a team and, losing in the big games, having slow starts to seasons, he always looks and reflects back on those prior years and those scars that you earn. It's like, all right, how do we get better from that? What did we learn from that in order to be better going forward? So every year, going into every season, there's always something new that we got to work on and get better at to attain what we're trying to do here. You know what I'm saying? And so that's something that he's done a great job of every year, just continuing to get better as a coach and a leader for us.
Some of those scars, like you talked about, how do they help you at this time of year, sort of, get ready for another playoff run?
Yeah, man. I mean, you always remember those moments. I think it's important during those times, like last year in Philly, and you see the confetti coming down. You see them with their hats and T-shirts on the stage. They're happy, and you're standing there. You're watching it all happen. And I can put myself right back there in this moment. And the part that sucks is like you can't just blink and you're right back into having an opportunity to go back and do it again. You know what I'm saying? And so you start from ground one, OTAs, mini camp, training camp. You know, you got to build the team back up again. And it feels like just yesterday we were doing that, but you blink and we're here. Like it's the start of playoffs, and you're here right back where you want to be with an opportunity to go do something special with the right type of guys. And I think that's what the scars are for. You remember those moments, so it's like, how can I not give my all to this? How can I not make sure it's everything to me, my teammates, obviously the coaches, and that's what those scars are for.
The way you guys lost, unique way you guys lost last year, did that provide any sort of different type of offseason fuel?
I mean, yeah, it was kind of mixed emotions, right? Because it felt like we never even had a chance to get going. We never had a chance to really feel like we could compete in that game. Don't get me wrong, in the moment we're feeling like, man, we could still do this. We could do anything. Especially the way that we finished last season, hadn't lost a game in forever, and it didn't matter if Brock went down or Josh went down. We were like, man, defensively we're thinking we just need how many touchdowns on defense do we need to score? That's the mindset in that moment. And then you look back afterwards, we never had a chance, And so it's just give us an opportunity where we're able to compete in that situation again, and then we'll see.
And obviously, there's still some faces missing at practice, but is it kind of energizing to get Eric Armstead, Jair Brown, Ambry Thomas, George Odom, et cetera, back today?
Yeah, so good. So good to see those guys out there in uniform. You talked about a guy like Eric and how big he is for us and what we do. Just to see him in uniform again today was great. Jair being back. So it's just good to get everybody back out there moving around so that when the time comes next week and we need them, that everybody's ready to go.
Brad, you guys been banging hits since July. I thought maybe your best collective game was off the bye, the Jacksonville game. How do you feel with the rest, and how much do you think that rest is going to help you guys in the division round?
Yeah, it's really helpful. I feel great. I think the rest is much needed, and you talk about a lot of guys didn't play many snaps in this past game either, so it's almost like you're taking 2 weeks of just letting the body recover and then mentally getting your mind right for what we got ahead. And I do think it'll be advantageous. And you mentioned it after that bye week during the season, we came out flying, and we got to make sure we do the same thing this time.
Chase Young might have an expanded role here in the first 2 games. What have you seen from him since he got here in late October, early November?
Yeah, I think just came in and was exactly the type of guy that we want, and being a 49er, and he bought right into what we were doing. You talk about he already had ingrained in him little things like running to the football, playing with that violence, the stuff that we ask our guys to do, and on top of the talent and the ability that he has, and he's just continued to get better. And I think he's bought into his role too. He's not like a me guy. It's oh, this is my bag here, this, that. He wants to win. He wants to win a ring as bad as anybody here. And so I'm really excited for him in the postseason.
Eric Armstead has said that he plays his best football in the playoffs. Obviously, that's the goal of everybody on the team. But what do you see from him on these home stretches when you're in the postseason and he's right in front of you?
I think he plays his best ball year round, and I think you want to be a guy known for being consistent no matter what the situation is. But, of course, you want your best ball to be played in this moment. And the way that you do that is you continue to do things that you've done right to get you to this point. You don't have to do something out of the ordinary to all of a sudden be playoff, such and such. It's just do the things that have brought you success up to this point, and that's the things that are going to be able. It's the little things, So a lot of teams, they lose games this time of year. It's not about winning; it's about not losing the game. So we just got to be on top of the details. Those little things, I think, is what's going to carry us to where we want to go.
George talked about playoff intensity and how in the regular season you might see a guy like a pass rusher he only turns it on third down or this guy doesn't try this but then in the playoffs everyone is into it. As he said, everyone's playing like Max Crosby.
I like that. Yeah, that's nice.
That was his line.
Yeah.
So I guess, does that resonate with you, and is it a much higher level than a regular, week 8 game?
It's for sure a much higher level in terms of it's win or go home. This isn't a 7-game series. It's not the best team that wins the trophy at the end. In basketball, you usually got a few chances to get it right when you got the best players, but it doesn't matter if you got the best team. I feel like we've had the best team the last 3-4 years, and we still haven't gotten a ring. It wasn't about us having the best team. It's about how good can you play in those 3 hours that you're allotted out there. And that's the team that usually is happy at the end of the year. And so the guys that turn it on for the playoffs, I don't really that's not something that I can truly respect fully. I feel like if you're just not turning it on, where were you all the way through from all the 18 weeks prior to that? So, we'll see. I think our guys are made of the right stuff. We've been going at it for the last 18, 19 weeks, and we're made of the right stuff. We just got to make sure we play our best ball for 3 hours.
Brad, will you be watching the games impartially, or will you be having any rooting interest, maybe for D'Amico, maybe Mike, but other than that, any impartiality?
Yeah, no, I'm excited to watch. Just as a football fan, excited to watch, and obviously seeing who we play. But I hope everybody loses. I hope everybody loses, and and then who knows? And then we won't have to play. No, I'm just kidding. All right, guys. Thanks.
What's your process when you have the bye week just to get ready and make sure you're sharp for the first round of the playoffs, your first game?
I think Kyle kind of set it up well for us. We had a couple days off to get feeling good, and then the game obviously wasn't too much for me. I think I had like 5 plays. So yeah, I got a little time there, and then we have 2 solid practices. Felt good and fresh today. Just work on our stuff a little bit, and then tomorrow will be pads, and then we'll have another 2 days off. So I think it's a perfect mix of getting fresh but also staying sharp.
You're watching the games this weekend. Will you have any rooting interest, maybe for D'Amico or any other teams?
Yeah, definitely for D'Amico. Only talked to McDaniel a couple times. Yeah, no, other than that, just see who we're playing.
Anything you do any early scouting at all when you're watching a game, kind of as a fan?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of these teams already, especially the NFC. So, now just watch and enjoy not beating my body up for a week.
Chase could get a bigger role here in these first couple of playoff games. Have you seen a change in him, just as he's gotten more accustomed to the defense since he's gotten here?
Yeah, he's going to have to play more. All the ends are going to have to step it up for Cleveland, whether he misses one game or whatever it is. But yeah, we just have to hone in on the technique of things. Sometimes towards the end of the year you lose it a little bit, but now there's no excuse. You got to get fresh and and really play the scheme the way it's supposed to be played. And we're really focusing on that as a D-line group and DN group. So yeah, I'm excited for him to have this opportunity.
Cleveland got all the starts this year, and he was sort of the base down guy. What did he do well to sort of earn that role, and what does Chase need to do to kind of fill those shoes?
Yeah, just the having a camp here and being in the scheme and just understanding the aiming points and all the stuff that Chris preaches, and it's tough to come in and get it right away. And Randy and Chase are still learning, so they're gonna have to kind of learn quick on the run, and be ready to fill those shoes. And Cleveland brought probably the best effort of anybody on the team, so I think that was one of the biggest things he brought.
What impact does Eric being back give to you guys as a front?
It'll be huge. I think I was really happy with how Javon and Kevin played last game, so having Eric back and then those two playing well and kind of back to their role of not taking 50 snaps but taking 25, 30 will be better for everybody.
What's your, I guess, playoff goals going into this, in terms of making sacks and pressuring quarterbacks maybe more than you have in past playoffs?
I just want to help my team win and win 3 games. That's my focus for sure.
When Steve Wilkes got here, he said he was kind of in a unique spot where he was learning the defense here and trying to kind of implement his stuff with it rather than putting in his own system. How have you seen him maybe grow more comfortable through the course of the year, and how has it kind of manifested on the field?
Yeah, I think he was trying to figure it out a little bit with what kind of defense we were going to be, and at the end of the day, we do what we do, and we've done it since I've been here. Zone coverage and rushing 4, and there's tons of different levels to doing it, and we need to be at the highest level possible of doing that. And if we are, then we're going to be really good defense.
You said that he feels more relaxed now that he's on the field and having more fun. Have you noticed that? How has that shown up?
Yeah, I mean, it was stressful in the beginning of the year. It seemed like everybody was coming after him, but I kind of felt for him just because it's not one guy's fault ever in football. So I'm happy that it's kind of calmed down, and we've figured out our recipe, and we just need to get fresh and be flying around when the time comes.
A couple of longstanding coaches have stepped down the last couple of days. Now, Kyle's here for his 7th year now, 5th with you. How have you noticed him keeping things fresh? I mean, to get consistency, but at the same time, maybe change the message up enough just to keep everybody interested? Has he changed over the years?
That's a good question. Actually, he's very unpredictable with how he's going to approach things, and but yeah, his system is his system. He's kind of old school with new school stuff to him, but I think he's just consistent in the sense that he's always looking for ways to improve, and he knows that you can't stay the same in the NFL. You have to keep improving, and especially when we've been so close, there has to be some other amount of like improvement that we could reach, and I kind of see him looking for it, and I think hopefully this is the year we find it.
You guys have played it could be 4 opponents. You've played 3 of them. Have you spent any time this week looking at Green Bay's cut-ups of their tackles, Walker and Tom?
I have not. No.
When it comes to, and the times Brock Purdy has not, had one of his great games, most recently against the Ravens, when he talks to us, he's not at all defensive. He never even tries to subtly deflect blame, and he very openly talks about his mistakes, like what he did wrong. It seems unique the way he does that. What does that say to you about him, just as a leader, just as a person?
Yeah, it's definitely unique in today's game. People feel attacked and want to be defensive about certain things, but it shows his maturity and his understanding that there's a reason things happen on the field, and being honest is a good way to go about it. You almost every play you could explain exactly what went wrong, and I think I find it interesting when Kyle explains the offensive stuff to us, and it's simple stuff, like motion stuff that maybe was a little bit late and threw off the play, or somebody missing one block. So I think just being honest is a good way to go about your life, and he's kind of mature beyond his years.
Brandon said that the offense won the practice today, but Fred said no, they didn't. Would you like to weigh in?
I feel like it was pretty even. Yeah.
Thanks, Nick.